Hey, you know that feeling when you react to something and 5 minutes later you think, why did I do that? That's not random. That's an archetype in motion. Every single day, one of your inner characters is behind the wheel. The question is, do you even know which one's driving? Welcome to this week's High Heels to Happy Feels episode, where we're going to talk about who's driving the bus.
So we're basically talking about an emotional kind of self GPS, right? Learning how to track who's steering your energy so you can choose the route instead of reacting to the detour.
Yeah, exactly. Because self-awareness isn't just knowing your archetype, it's watching how it runs your real life in real time.
You know what? It's perfect because that totally aligns with this week's astrology. We just came out of the full moon in Taurus, right? So we're in that disseminating moon right now, and that energy that brings everything out of theory and really into the body, right? Into that grounding moment. It's truth through embodiment. Then we have Mars in Sagittarius, which is like an ignition spark, right? Bold, bold fire. Courage to move on what's real instead of waiting for more clarity. And then Venus in Scorpio says, hey, settle down, don't fake it. Whatever you feel, you need to own it. So this guy is literally asking us to see who's driving. And I think this is beautiful timing because that's a great we need to decide if that energy still belongs behind the wheel right now.
And I totally love that visual because the cosmos always mirrors our inner landscape. And this week, the universe is saying, don't just understand your patterns, live in awareness of them. So that's our invitation to you. Let's look at how to spot your archetypes and which one is running your day, how to step back enough to witness it, and how to realign your energy so you're the one that is steering your life. Because really, most people think that their archetype is something they pick on a quiz, but you spot it through your patterns. What you do automatically when you're stressed or inspired or afraid.
You know what? You need to give me some examples. There are a lot of archetypes. I have taken a lot of those quizzes, and I know this is an area that's powerful for you.
Yeah, and I had it for topic of the week, which is why I'm really passionate about it right now. And
Right?
the universe really did talk about embodiment and being who you are and understanding your awareness. Yeah, okay. So like if you jump into fixing mode, your warrior is probably leading. If you take responsibility for everybody else's comfort, that's probably your caretaker. And if you analyze yourself maybe into exhaustion, definitely your scholar because they're thinking and thinking and thinking. If you fight routine just so you can feel free, you might be a rebel. And if you drift into daydreams and skip the hard conversations, that's likely a mystic. And there's a lot of them. So maybe, Steph, we should we'll talk about it as we continue on.
I
Maybe we
think,
should put some together.
yeah, I love it because I think this is, I mean, really, you can tell what your triggers are or who's in charge, right? At that moment, or what's kind of where you are just by looking at what your triggers are and what's draining you, right?
Absolutely. Your archetype shows up fastest where you are losing your neutrality. So, like, notice your tone, your body language, your speed. The moment you shift out of presence, one of your archetypes just took the mic.
Oh my God. And that actually so connects into astrology because Taurus wants embodiment, Mars wants action, and that means noticing which archetypes, is it time to move and go, 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 or is it time to freeze, settle down?
Exactly, exactly. So this is how energetic map translate. The moon illuminates the pattern. Mars pushes the action and Venus shows where emotion still rules the decision. So that's kind of like a daily archetypal report. So we have, at Immersive Spirit, everything with us is about energy and living your soul. So living your soul is understanding like all of the energies around us, right?
Oh God, yeah. Hugely, right? That is what we do. It's all about how we are living, what we're doing, and um
Your auras and chakras and like astrology and environments and feng shui and
exactly, and what to be aware of, everything being soul led. And so when you think about this and you think about all these different archetypes, I mean, I was thinking about just the examples you were giving. I'm like, okay, so I can see the rebel, and then I'm like, ooh, caretaker. And as soon as you said caretaker, I'm like, ooh, that's Cancer, right? When I'm
Mhm.
thinking about astrology. So I'm thinking about that caretaker, that nurturer, that type of person. And then you're like, oh, okay, so the rebel. And I'm going, ooh, there's a Sagittarius for you, right? Because that's your fire and I gotta fly, I gotta travel, I got very cool. I just love the alignment.
Right. And I think like it's really important to when you're trying to define, when you're trying to live soul led, it's really important to have like a barometer on all of these different, excuse me, energies that are happening around us. So, like if you checking in with your own aura, checking in with all your chakras, checking in with your astrology of the day, at least your moon, sun, rising, and seeing where you are. And then this is kind of like that final piece when you are, let's say you're reacting to a conversation. It and feeling like that's not really a way I wanted to react. Being able to step back and saying, this is the archetype that's stepping in right now, and being able to switch the script and understand all of the different energy that's involved with your day so you really can be in control.
That is so
Yeah.
good. It's so true. And when you said the chakras too, we were doing some a group Reiki earlier today, and it is. You think about just how you balance your chakras and go, okay, so when your energy's off, what does that mean? What does that look like? And so when you are able to identify those archetypes, I think we just are going to give a list, right, at the end of kind of like a bunch of different of archetypes so people have something to kind of guide them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the ones that I specifically talked to this week or that I can think of,
Okay.
we'll look some up too. But yeah, and then the brilliance and the baggage that goes with them. And
Oh
brilliance
my
is
God,
baggage is
yeah.
like the light and the shadow.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that it's really important to understand though, because I mean it feels very conceptual when we're talking about it, when we're talking about all of these energies to be aware of and how to move through your day. But I think when you're really wanting to be aware, the key move is to not fight it. It's just to notice what's going on. So kind of like being a witness to everything that's kind of happening. And the second you notice, be like, hey, my rebel is talking right now. And then you've already shifted from your reaction to your awareness. And being aware is like fully owning your life and living soul led.
Oh my God. It's like stepping one rung higher on the ladder, just one more, right? And so you're watching yourself instead of judging yourself because you keep doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. So you're okay. Another important thing is you're not silencing the archetype. You're actually learning from it. So you're like um in a little dance with it. So when you were stepping back and you're going to say, I'm going to notice this archetype. I'm going to notice that the warrior's taking over or what have you. When you can step back and say, what is this part of me trying to protect? Or what am I actually needing right now? Like, why is this archetype stepping forward? And that's really important to understand because that's going to turn emotional triggers into an energy insight. So let me bring this into reality for you.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we
Break it
know we
down. Break
all
it down. Yeah.
break it down, break it down. So okay, we talk about work all the time. So this week, like the rest, everything's piling up. Deadlines, client meetings, all of it. And instead of asking for help, I went into warrior mode. I can do the entire project myself. I don't want to inconvenience anybody. I don't want to slow a team down.
That's that caretaker thing we were talking about too. Just saying.
So it's somewhere, so the warrior's like jumping in. The caretaker, yep, you're absolutely right, is also represented there because I'm just going to take care of it all.
Right.
But then by Friday, I'm resentful and I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And this wasn't helpful. It wasn't leadership. It wasn't owning it. It wasn't helping anybody else.
No. Especially you.
Exactly. But it took me till Friday to be like, this is not the way that I want my life to go.
Right.
And I think that's the concept that I think is really hard to understand is because we're always running on archetypes. There's always some type of archetype stepping forward, but it's like, why do I want to notice? When do I want to notice? And you're not fixing it, but you're noticing it so you can take different actions.
Right. So that you can decide if you want to live in that archetype in that moment. Is it the right place that you want to be? Because, or is there something that needs to shift? And you want, you look at it and go, I don't want to be a caretaker. I want to be a warrior right now. And what do I need to do to shift that? Or, or maybe you were like, yep, I'm in full on, mom mode, whatever that might be. And mom doesn't necessarily being a physical mother, but it means that you are nurturing somehow other people, right? There is some sort of capacity that you're doing that. Maybe that's exactly where you want to be in that moment. And so I think it's powerful to identify that because it's just like and it's another way of soul examination of living yourself. And I know I'm probably way off our conversation here and some
No,
of the
it's
notes that
totally
we
good.
had and whatever, but it is so it is so powerful when we really live soul led and then look at that and say, is this my path? And you sit with it and say, nope. I am not in warrior mode right now. I am in rebel mode because I am rebelling against all of it. No,
Right. Well,
right?
and oftentimes, just be you, be the person that you're leading. There's always like these are personalities and this is just how things are going to go. But when you're living soul led and you're choosing, like Stephanie was talking about, when you're choosing how you want to react and how you want to respond to things, like that is so super powerful because I spend a lot of time in between warrior and caretaker when we're at our day job. Like, when you have team meetings and there's that silence,
Oh my God.
I will take on other people's tasks to
To fill
stop
the
that silence.
void. Yeah.
Right? Because there are so many people who use that silence as a weapon.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
they
yeah.
know the caretaker type is going to jump in, and I'm that caretaker type, which is why I always have the most assignments. 'Cause
Oh
I'm
yeah.
always like,
Exactly. Because you're the ones that's like, I can't believe this is just sitting here. Somebody needs to do it. Fine, I'll do it. And then
right,
pretty
somebody needs to
soon,
jump in.
right? But then it's that resentful mode that comes back that we've talked about before of like the power of saying no. And we have talked about that in other podcasts, in topics, etc. And it's funny because as I think about the topic for next week and what that is, it's a little bit headed that direction, right? About, is that what your intuition says? No, I don't think it is. So, you know,
Right?
but it is
Right.
that
No.
archetype is a powerful tool thing that you have to identify what road am I on? Where where am I headed on this direction? I love that.
Well, and once you notice it,
It's
and I
an
know
and
we go
yeah.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Once you notice it, because they're always kind of in charge in some way or another, and maybe not. Like, yeah, in the perfect world, you're fully in charge of everything, and your archetypes aren't protecting you from anything. But when you start noticing the archetypes and where they show up, whether they're showing up in brilliance or whether they're showing up with baggage, it's doing the shadow work about why they're showing up. Like,
Right?
yeah, because I mean, in a perfect world, we don't have, all of these different personality responses that are happening. And really, they're, I kind of envision them as masks, like all the different masks we wear as we go through our day.
Yeah.
But it's looking at that mask and seeing what archetype is associated and then seeing why that mask is showing up for you. I
Yeah.
don't know. Very, yeah, that's very,
No, but it's true because the mask can literally change from moment to moment. I mean, I'm sorry, but a meeting can change my mask because I can go in with one ideal of who I think I am in that moment, and I can come out with a totally different perception of what I think that is, right? And that could be a 1 hour period of my life. So,
and this is
and that is
exactly why I don't do leadership anymore. I'm not kidding because it is par for my course to because I'm a visionary. That's another archetype where you dream up all these big things to do,
uh-huh.
and then you walk in with your warrior mentality about we're gonna do this, we're
Uh-huh.
going to war, we're gonna win this, blah blah blah, and
Right?
then nobody steps up with you, and you're like, never mind, I'll do it all myself.
Right.
So I went from a visionary to a warrior to a
Exactly.
caretaker.
I was just, energetically. So it's like each of these archetypes has their own frequency. So you
Yeah.
got your warriors, like you were talking about, sharp, caretaker, soft. You got the scholar, that's still, your rebel, electrifying, right? Fire. The mystics, like this fluid. Ooh, yeah, you see all the gowns and the whimsical. You can feel that vibe shift. And I'm like sitting here, even as you were talking about the visionary as one of them, and just talking about that. you go into something and you're like grandiose ideas and I'm a visionary and then you're warrior mode and then pretty soon you're like, ooh, no one's jumping on this. I guess I'll take care of it. Care, care, care. And then that scholar comes in because you got to do all the research and the work that goes with it. And then in the end, I'm a rebel because I'm pissed because I took it.
Right? Like you can see how
Right?
archetypes,
Boom, boom,
like
boom,
they just
boom,
hand
boom.
it
And
off
that
to
was
each
10
other.
minutes of my life I'll never get back.
Right? Right. And so when people are talking like about analysis paralysis, it's the scholar.
Oh my
Because,
God. And that's what starts topic of the week next week. I actually use analysis paralysis in there.
oh my God, that's
So
so funny.
funny. That's
Uh,
hysterical. Of course it
anyway, you're so right because archetypes really are patterns of energy. They aren't personality types. I've kind of intermixed that, and they're not. They are patterns of energy.
Yeah.
And each one holds both brilliance and distortion, or brilliance and baggage,
Yeah.
is what the topic of the week really was about. And I love brilliance and baggage because that's really everything has a bright side and everything has a shadow side too. So the more you're aware of which one's active, the more consciously you can choose instead of defaulting to like an automatic reaction.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. So if you want a really um, good, like one sentence nightly reflection to maybe look at this for yourself, just ask yourself which archetype ran most of my day today. And then just jot down three words that about like what it felt like, what it created, and what you would rather feel like tomorrow.
Okay. So kind of like that, it's an energy audit, but it's quick, not super heavy. And please, I hope you're not like where I would feel I have tw all 12, or 15 or 1,000 in one day. I hope it's just one or two.
Right? Right? And we're not trying to create a project for you,
No,
but
no.
to introduce yourself to yourself about how your energy, how you moved through your day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
think that,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, like just over the week, you're gonna start seeing a rhythm. Maybe like I yeah.
I think
My
it's great. I love it. Keep talking. Tell me what I need to do over this next week so I can identify this stuff and nip it in the bud.
right? Well, okay, so I realized just seeing the rhythm, once you start writing it down and you're like, wow, my warrior really shows up in meetings, or my caretaker runs my weekends, or my mystic hides during stress. Once you spotting the rotation, you can start intentionally switching the seats and asking yourself in the morning, which archetype would serve me best today? Because that one question is going to rewire your energy faster than any affirmation because you're saying, how are you going to lead me? How am I going to lead myself? What choices am I going to make today? What archetype do I need to show up to help me?
And I love that because with us coming off that full moon in Taurus, we're no longer in the Taurus moon, but that energy around it is creating that kind of grounding and rhythm, right? And we still are in the Scorpio sun, which has that deep mystery and that shadow work. It's a perfect opportunity right now to just dig in and recalibrate. And I know that's a bit of an overused words these days, but it is truly what it's about, right? Is it's that recalibration of saying, and control is a difficult word because, in my opinion, there is no such thing as control, but
Mhm.
there is action and reaction as to what we are doing with the knowledge that we have. And so you can choose then in those moments, maybe not how you control which archetype is in that situation, but how you're going to react to it and what you're going to do to either alter or accept that situation.
Oh, that is so smart.
Thank
That
you.
is, yeah, yeah, so smart.
Once in a
Because
while, there's a deep thought.
we're going deep, folks. But and it's so right on because embodiment doesn't come through in like the big breakthroughs. It's built on all of those micro decisions, all of those step backs, all of those reviews. And that's how archetypes evolve from reaction to mastery to responses. So think about this. Every major decision you have ever made had an archetype behind it. The job you took, the partner you chose, even how you rest. All of it mirrors what part of you felt safest at that time.
Okay.
That's deep, right?
Right. Because when that same part keeps choosing for you, becomes a loop. I mean, life starts looping, right? I mean,
Exactly. And when
significant
you're
other perpetual.
aware,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, when you're aware, you can shift that from the survival choices to the soul aligned ones. So we're wrapping it up. Can you feel it? Like it's coming full circle. We're living soul. Finally choose expansion. And instead of the caretaker choosing all of the peacekeeping, your rebel might say, F this, I'm choosing the truth.
Yeah.
That's when archetype work becomes life work,
Ugh, eek.
right? Right?
Yeah. It's kind of it's it's the puppet master.
But I think like this whole podcast is about getting soul led with yet another energy that you may not have even been aware of. And so Steph had mentioned, and we're definitely going to put this together for our podcast notes. I don't know where we'll post that, maybe just in the show notes.
Just in the show notes, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just about these different archetypes and what their brilliance looks like. So what they look like in the light or when it feels good, and what their baggage looks like or what they might feel like when they have a little shadow that's running around with them. So here's your homework for this week. Notice which archetype speaks loudest for you this week. Write one line each night about how it influenced your choices. And ask yourself before bed, which archetype wants me to lead tomorrow? Or even in the morning, say, what archetype do I want to see today? Do I want to be in the lead today? And set that as an intention.
I like that better. I want that to be what archetype do I want to lead this conversation tomorrow so that I've got that top of mind, right? So that I'm actually reprogramming those patterns to see how they intertwine and how my intuition and shadow, all of those pieces are going to mix together the next day so that I can, because I want to own those decisions as much as I can and say, yep, I stayed warrior mode all day long. Good call. Good job. Right? It's a pat on the back
Right.
of the day.
In control.
Yeah. Yeah. Perceived control, but control nonetheless. And
Well,
so,
right.
right. But that's living your soul because you are looking at that and saying, what energy do I want to share? What energy do I want to give? What energy do I want to feel? What do I want to be involved with? And that is all part like our free soul pillars tools. If you have not already gone and downloaded all of our like the embodiment. What did I almost say? I almost said lobotomy, the embodiment pack. Good grief. The Spirit Whisper. I mean, we have all these awesome free tools. And I'll make sure that that link is included in our notes as well. But those line up to get you started towards living your soul. And this is just another tool in the toolbox with your archetype to be able to say, yep, today warrior spirit, or today I'm in rebel mode, you know? Love it. I
Yeah, self-awareness is really like that step one, integration is that step two, and that's kind of what we're talking about with this energy. It's yet another energy that we just need to be aware of because it leads our day, every day, all the time. And living your soul means watching your energy in motion
ugh,
and then choosing differently on purpose because that is real, real power.
oh my God. Nailed it. Mic drop. With that, we're going to say, all right, thank you for tuning in to High Heels to Happy Feels. We would love, love, love for you to share this with somebody who keeps saying, I just don't know why I do that. Because now they will.
And maybe by tomorrow, so will you.
See you next week.